Support for Just Seen It comes from Warner Archive Instant. Streaming hard-to-find movies and TV shows direct from the studio at WarnerArchiveInstant.com. Support for Just Seen It comes from Weaver's Coffee and Tea, makers of hand-roasted artisan coffee and hand-blended tea. Learn more at weaverscoffee.com. Two lifelong friends lead an idyllic life living at the beach.
Yeah, I did all right.
But both women find themselves falling in love with each other's sons.
Now I feel really sinful.
Nothing wrong with that.
Resulting relationships threaten their friendship and their families in Adore.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Aaron, and today we're here to talk about the new film starring Robin Wright and Naomi Watts, Adore. We've all just seen it. Got some pretty scandalous stuff going on in this film. What do we think?
It's the story of these two gorgeous, hot, middle-aged women who have young adult sons. They've been BFFs since their own childhood, right? So these are, everybody thinks that they're actually their own couple.
Yes.
But what winds up happening is that they actually begin having affairs with each other's sons.
Scandalous. See, it is scandalous, but it's missing something. I don't know.
It's called conflict and drama.
Yes.
Are you? The whole
come
movie
on,
is
Kevin.
conflict.
There's no conflict at all.
There's
How
tons
do
of
you
conflict.
Are you
take...
kidding me?
It's internal conflict.
Read the novel if you want to hear internal conflict.
Well, it's written by Christopher Hampton, who is a huge playwright, Dangerous Liaisons, and the director Anne Fontaine. And they adapted the short story called The Grandmothers by Doris Lessing. And I think they did a great job of taking what could be an 80s sex comedy setup, and they make it a possible real world scenario and give some depth to it. And I know you don't think there's any depth, but there's a lot going on here.
It does give an unbiased look into something that could just as easily be a schmaltzy, over-the-top melodrama. I'll agree with that. I appreciate that it's being told in a straightforward way, but honestly, I think it would have done better with a little melodrama, something to be a little over the top, because it's just so flat the whole time that I understand that they're having internal conflict, I really do, and I can see it on their faces. I just wish there was a little more for me to latch onto than that.
The theme of, why are these women getting involved with each other's sons, clearly that's like, what the heck are they doing?
It's like pseudo-incestuous.
Right. Cougars are in, and guys dating older guys are in.
No, and there's the theme of them being worried that they're going to leave them.
And that's a big thing,
that.
but it's also the kids don't, they're thinking to this day.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm just having sex and I'm having this affair and this is great. They're not thinking about the future, whereas the older person is going, well, what's going to happen in 10 years when you leave me?
The look in the mirror with all of the makeup gone, I mean, it's so freaking cliche. It is
I've done it.
It's so freaking cliche.
But she has a conversation about it. They talk about it when they're in bed. When Robin Wright is in bed with her lover, she's like, "You're not gonna like this in 10 years," and he's like, "I like you now." And that's the issue is like he's only looking to today, and he's gonna dump this woman when she gets older, and then what is she gonna do?
My biggest complaint with the film is that where there should be conflict, and those moments arrive in the film, things are too easily resolved.
Yes.
And then you find yourself asking the question, well, why was this even a conflict to begin with if it's so easily just papered over?
Thankfully, we do have fantastic actresses here. Robin Wright and Naomi Watts do an absolutely incredible job with all the subtlety and making us believe that they have some turmoil over what's going on.
It could have easily been, I just hate these two women for what they're doing to their sons. But I didn't. I didn't like what they were doing, but I was so fascinated to figure out, why are you doing this to your sons?
I found both of their performances very intriguing and compelling, and I'm glad that it was those two women.
Yeah.
Yes.
They look good together. They have great chemistry. You believe that these women really are good friends and that they care about each other and they support one another.
They're beautiful. They're like young gods. Amazing. Yeah.
It could have been so much more with better material. I want to see these pristine representations of pure white femininity get a little dirty. I want to see that. Instead, they just kind of come across as some kind of horny middle-aged women, because there's a whole lot of up against the wall going on in this film, which was okay. It's like, okay, let's have
I
one of those
enjoyed it
moments.
thoroughly. It was probably the best part of the movie.
But they didn't go over the top with it.
No, not at all.
And
not at all.
and I think we could credit Anne Fontaine for that.
Yeah.
She tried to keep it as realistic and not as cheesy and corny as it could have been.
Production-wise,
for
it's
sure.
great. I mean,
beautiful.
it's beautiful. The music is awesome. The opening montage sequence
that
is
was
really
really nice,
great. They
yeah.
have, these very smooth transitions where you're looking at them as young girls, and then you're on their feet, and then it moves a little bit, and then they're older again. And the same thing with their sons. It's just
Right.
nice, really beautiful little touches. I think the pacing is a little off. It's just a little too long. But again, with more hefty material, she would have been able to fill out those spaces.
Give us a drag.
You can have a whole one if you promise to behave yourself.
A drag will do.
We have Xavier Samuel plays Ian, who is Naomi Watts' son, and James Freshville, who is Robin Wright's son.
They're a bunch
Then
of
they
cutie
switch.
pies.
They're cute. I don't think that's, oh my God, they're going to get supporting actor nominations.
Yeah.
But
The two sons, they do a really good job of exhibiting some conflict. I mean, it makes sense. Little boys have crushes, and they develop crushes on mommy's friends. And that's really kind of normal. The women, though, they're supposed to know better.
Adore is certainly an intriguing film about a taboo subject, and while the performances are strong, I feel there was something missing. It just wasn't dramatic enough, so I say stream it.
Clearly, there are people all over the planet who are having sex with people that they shouldn't. Adore doesn't really tell us why we should be paying attention to this group. I say skip it.
Naomi Watts and Robin Wright give amazing performances that walk a fine line that never crosses into farce, and I found it interesting, so I say see it.
Well, our votes add up to 1.5 tickets, which is a stream it for Adore. Cheers.
Did you adore this movie, Kevin?
Not as much as
Did,
Kevin.
and I
yeah.
don't adore you right now.
Oh, you'll get over it.
I adore it.
He made it funny. He got jokes.
Support for Just Seen It comes from Warner Archive Instant. Streaming hard-to-find movies and TV shows direct from the studio at WarnerArchiveInstant.com. Support for Just Seen It comes from Weaver's Coffee and Tea, makers of hand-roasted artisan coffee and hand-blended tea. Learn more at weaverscoffee.com.